All right. Well, welcome everyone. Good morning. I am Susu Wong. Thank you so much for attending our social media for nonprofits in 2020. I know that I love to see all of you in person, but unfortunately we have COVID-19. So just to be cautious and make sure everybody's healthy, I think this is a good decision to change the venue and do webinar. So maybe later this year we can do it in person. Hopefully everything will calm down a little. I keep my fingers crossed. Just a little bit about myself. I am the founder of Tomo 360. We're an online marketing agency based in Lowell, Mass, which I love, the city of Lowell. We help companies and businesses with online marketing services, from building websites to doing social media, search engine optimization, and advertising. I'm also,
Here's Tomo. I forgot your slide. I'm sorry.
right.
So I'll pull up your website.
There you go. I'm also a co-founder of a nonprofit called Women Accelerators. We've been around since 2011, and we help women with career education, networking, and mentoring. So this workshop not only helps, my company, but also my nonprofits. And I want to introduce you to Julia Campbell, whom I met a couple of years ago at her talk. Last summer, she invited me to be one of the speakers at a social media summit.
You were awesome.
Oh, thank you. And I was so impressed with the expertise in social media. She's a rock star. Julia is recognized as one of the top 25 social media influencers. And I'm just so thrilled to have her with us. So she's going to tell you a little bit about her background. And without further delay, I'll turn over to you, Julia.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to actually get on video for a sec. Oh, it stopped and started. Hi, everyone. Just to put a face to a name, if you can see the video, or maybe you can't. I don't know why it's not working. But anyway, I'm really excited that a lot of you decided to jump on this webinar. Zoom is where we're probably going to be living a lot of our lives for the next foreseeable future. So it's good to put at least my face to the name. And I really appreciate all of you coming here today. I really wanted to meet you in person. I've never been to the iHub. I've heard it's amazing. And I'm from the Boston area, so I'm a huge fan of UMass Lowell. So, we just have to stay safe and do what we can do. But as a bonus, you will get the recording of this, and I'll also send the slides out. I'll send them to Susu so she can send all of that to anyone that was registered. So who am I? I am a mom of two. I'm from Beverly, Massachusetts. I live in Wenham now. I served in the Peace Corps from 2000 to 2002 in Senegal, West Africa. That's really how I got involved with nonprofit work and NGOs, and actually fundraising. We did some fundraising. This is before Venmo and PayPal and GoFundMe. So we had to actually write letters home and emails home and get sent checks and things from Western Union. But I did some fundraising, and I've written 2 books, one that just came out, and I'm going to show you how you can get a free chapter. And the most important thing that I like to express to people, especially when I'm talking to nonprofits, is that I've been a one-person development marketing shop. So if a lot of you are working for small or mid-sized organizations, maybe you're a party of one, maybe you have a really tiny department, maybe you're a volunteer. I've been there, I get it. So I've been in the trenches, and I have been that, kitchen sink events coordinator duties as assigned. So I get it. I know what you're going through. And that's really how I design my presentations, is trying to be talking about trends and things that you need to pay attention to, but also giving you actionable and practical things that you can take away. So if you want a free chapter, I'm giving away a free chapter all this month. It's very easy to do. You just text social media to 33777, and I'll give you that number later. And hopefully all that tech will be working. So let me just stop the video. I think it's a little bit distracting when I have it on, but I want to make sure that we talk about the learning objectives so that we have all our bases covered. And I had planned for an hour, but I'd really planned for an hour with a lot of interaction and questions and examples. So I would love if you would type in questions either in the chat or type in video into the question and answer box. And that way we can make this a little bit more of a conversation. So I'm going to go over some key changes in the current social media landscape that affect nonprofits, especially in 2020. And all of this, of course, is changing. And then the 3 shifts affecting donor behavior and preferences in the social media age, how to get started creating a strategy for your nonprofit, and then we'll go over some of my favorite free and low cost tools and apps for management and content creation. So the first statistic I want to throw at you that I just read the other day in Social Media Examiner is that there are more social media users today than there were people in 1971. And I think that's a pretty astounding statistic. So 3.8 billion people are active social media users, and that's nearly half the world's population. And the reason I like to share this statistic is I think that there are still some skeptics and non-believers out there that somehow think social media is going away. It's not a shiny new tool or a shiny new object. It actually represents a complete revolution in the way, like, love it or hate it, it's a complete revolution in the way human beings interact and connect and share information and get news and express their identity and their worldview. So it's really much more than a tool or a marketing tool. I mean, it's a complete revolution in the way that we exist as humans and the way that we communicate. And whether it's for good or evil, we have to understand that it's not going away. So we have to embrace it and be responsible as much as we can. Baby boomers are on there. Young Americans are on there. They haven't abandoned Facebook yet. Baby boomers, 54% own smartphones. And the statistics are the statistics. Usually the challenges that I hear from nonprofits are, well, none of our donors are using it. Well, I would say even if your donors are baby boomers or your donors are younger, I'm willing to bet that they are using at least one platform, if not more, just because the data doesn't lie. People spend an average of 2 hours and 24 minutes per day using social media, which is crazy. It sounds crazy to me. That sounds like a lot. I get a lot of questions about TikTok, so I wanted to just share some statistics about TikTok that you need to know. It does have 800 million monthly users, and it is the fastest growing site, but more than 60% of these users live in China. And I do want you to know that even though TikTok is super popular and growing, it really hasn't come at the expense of any of the other platforms that we know. So it's not cannibalizing, it's just adding. And to me, and I was just talking to the wonderful people at givingtuesday.org, and what they've been seeing with their TikTok account, it's so much easier to build an audience now because not many nonprofits are using it. So it might be something where if you want to reach younger people, you want to look into it. But when we develop our strategy, I'm going to help you ask some questions that will help determine the platforms that you're going to choose. The reality is that Facebook still dominates. Facebook is still the king of the most used social media platforms, even though Instagram is actually growing at a faster rate, but Instagram, of course, is owned by Facebook. Facebook's future, Mark Zuckerberg has talked a lot about privacy, and he's putting a lot of stock into WhatsApp and Messenger. There's a free privacy checkup tool that you can use. When you get the slides, you can click on that. This is going to show you what apps are connected to Facebook, what data you're sharing with Facebook, and then you can clean up your account if that's something that you want to do. I do recommend all of you do that. You're going to be shocked to see, especially if you're like me and you've been using Facebook for over 10 years, the amount of data Facebook has on you. So the other thing that they're focused on now, and if you saw the Super Bowl ad, it was for a Facebook group. I've seen this ad a million times now. The focus on private communities, less so on the news feed. And I actually liked this quote. I'm reading an amazing book right now, and I should put it in the chat. It's by Stephen Levy, and it's called I don't remember, but it's about Facebook. Anyway, it just came out. It's really good. And it's kind of an expose, but Stephen Levy he's the former editor-in-chief of Wired magazine. He spent 3 years intimately talking to Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg and all the people at Facebook. And it's just a really interesting retrospective into how Facebook came to be and why it's so powerful and the impact that it's had in the world. But it's clear that Facebook is now shifting to these private communities, smaller communities. Another important technological and I was going to say technological feat is augmented reality and virtual reality. So these are popping up, these experiences are popping up all over social media. And these actually, it's interesting because I did these slides before COVID-19 was everywhere. Augmented reality and virtual reality, I'm sure, are going to take off in the next few months because we're not physically able to be with each other. So this technology would be great for giving tours, for showing people the inside of your office, for showing people the work going on in the field, for connecting with people. So this kind of technology, Facebook is also doubling down on. And stories are absolutely booming. They're growing at 15 times the rate of newsfeed content. So this is Facebook stories, Instagram stories, and they represent tons of ad revenue right now. And they're absolutely growing. And then of course you can actually raise money on Instagram stories and on Instagram now with the donate button, with the fundraiser button on Facebook stories. Right now on Instagram, individuals can start fundraisers and nonprofits can start fundraisers. And then on Facebook stories, you have to support a specific fundraising campaign. So on in Facebook stories, you can't tag necessarily an organization. You have to tag a friend's fundraiser. So that could be changing, but those are two things to pay attention to. With Facebook ads, I mean, it's still kind of pay to play. Like you can create organic reach on Facebook occasionally, but it's definitely worth having some kind of budget and strategy around either boosting posts or creating Facebook ads. And I am not the expert in this area. That's definitely Tomo 360. And Susu is the expert on Facebook ads. This was the presentation that she gave at the Nonprofit Social Media Summit, was all about getting started with Facebook ads. And that'd be a great webinar to do actually together. Changes are also coming to Twitter to make things more private, to tighten up privacy rules, to make things easier to find, to make it easier for you to connect with people that matter to you. So I can just see these trends pushing us towards really connecting with people that matter to us and really filtering out a lot of the noise and a lot of the stress and a lot of the chatter that we don't want to see. On Instagram, likes are still tracked. They're testing removing likes. That could have huge implications, especially if you've got a gigantic Instagram following. So they're also, beyond the social media trends, donors' behaviors are changing. So we know that small donors are disappearing, and this should be alarming for all of us that rely on individual contributions. I think that social media fundraising is the antidote to small dollar donors disappearing, but they are disappearing. So donors that make gifts of less than $250. And this is probably because, first of all, the playing field's getting more crowded. Not only are there more nonprofits, but we have to understand people are giving to their friends and family and their neighbors. 1/3 of the, I think it's 1/3, or maybe it's 2/3. I will double check that statistic. A vast majority of the campaigns on GoFundMe are for individuals raising money for medical expenses. So 1 in 5, I did read this report the other day, 1 in 5 Americans has given money to a medical related fundraiser for an individual. And I think that that is taking money away from organizations because people have less trust in institutions and organizations. So those are all things to pay attention to. How can we use social media to establish this presence and this shared identity with our donors so that they continue to support us. Also, of course, we know that demographics are shifting. And as fundraisers, as nonprofit communicators, we need to establish multi-channel campaigns to reach 5 distinct generations of donors, right? Silent generation, the boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, and then I don't know what this next generation is called, Alpha, because there's even another generation. We're not asking them for money yet, but we will be soon. And all of them have different preferences in terms of communication, in terms of how they like to give, in terms of events. So we need to be cognizant that a one-size-fits-all approach to fundraising is not going to work, because we do know that we know some things about younger generations. This is a complete generalization, but the trend tends to be younger generations have zero tolerance for a user experience that's not frictionless, that where it's clunky, where they can't give in the way they want to give, where they can't volunteer the way they want to volunteer, sign up the way they want to volunteer, sign up for events, raise money for organizations. They want to do it how they want to do it. And they want it to be something where they're recognized within their networks. So they're not just doing it for a trophy. And they're not just doing it because it's an organization they've supported for years and years. The boomers tend to be very loyal and support the same organizations year after year after year after year, write the same check to St. Jude's, the same check to their alma mater, the same check to the local hospital. Younger generations are not like that. They see what's in the news. They see what their friends are posting about on Facebook, and they follow their passions, and that can change year to year. These are 2 mobile apps that I think are going to come and really take the charity world by storm. This is Millie on the left. Millie is set up as almost Tinder for nonprofits, where I would go on and look up a cause that I care about, and I would see some nonprofit fundraising campaigns, and I can swipe right to donate, and I can swipe left to say not now. And then on the right-hand side, this is the Point app. And this was designed by a college student who was so frustrated she wanted to volunteer on the weekends, but she could never get anyone on the phone. No one would answer her emails. Also, she didn't want to send emails or make phone calls because she is a college student. So she designed an app that will make volunteering as easy as taking an Uber. So consumer-driven experiences are driving younger people. And if, we need to keep up. Also, we need to be cognizant that people want to pay how they want to pay. Let's give them every opportunity to give money to us. This is a huge, huge trend right now. Apple Pay, Google Pay, because no one has any cash on them. So someone like the Salvation Army that relies on cash donations, they have to adopt. We have to be more proactive and less reactive. And of course, you've seen the headlines around Facebook fundraising. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, whether you use it or not, it's definitely a trend that can't be ignored anymore. And I was just on a call where Facebook said they're ready to announce that $4 billion has been raised by nonprofits, or by people raising money for nonprofits on Facebook since its inception. It's just not something we can ignore anymore. And then also there's brand new tools popping up like YouTube. I don't know if you were aware that you can fundraise on YouTube if you sign up for Google for Nonprofits, if you sign up for YouTube for Nonprofits. YouTube, of course, is owned by Google. You can add donate buttons, campaign buttons, donate cards, and then other people can add these for you. So not just your organization, but other influencers, creators on YouTube. And then, of course, live stream charity gaming. I just went to the peer-to-peer fundraising forum in Austin. I'm so glad it was a few weeks ago and it didn't get canceled. And everyone was talking about live stream fundraising. Now, it's not just gaming. It's not just people playing video games. It's people doing crazy things like Bob Ross cosplay, people doing fitness and dance. This is the new way that people are fundraising. They are asking their networks for money and doing these crazy challenges and these crazy things. And we need to kind of get on board and see how we can leverage all of that. So how can we thrive in the new normal? How can we adapt our strategies and future-proof our social media strategy? That's really what it's all about. How can we create a strategy that's going to be resistant to all of these changes? The number one thing you have to know is that content is not king, audience is king. So when you're asking questions like, should we have different Facebook pages for different departments? Okay. Or should we have different Facebook pages for different services that we provide? Always ask yourself, would this provide value to your audience? Now, I'm going to say this question 25 times during this presentation. Should we join TikTok? Would this provide value to your audience? Is your audience there? And can you provide value to your audience? If it's all about you and what you want and your agenda, it's going to fall flat. If it doesn't provide value to your audience, it's not going to work because you won't be able to build an audience and engage them. How often should we post? What is going to provide value to your audience? How often do they want you to post? If you post once a day, does that get more engagement than posting 3 times a week? So we have to start asking questions and shift it from not what we're creating and not focus on the tools, but focus on the audience. Because without an audience, none of this content means anything. So the number one thing that I think you should do, and all nonprofits should do, especially on social media, is preach to the choir. Now, everyone asks me all day, every day, how do we get new donors? How do we get new people invested in our cause? How do we get new eyeballs on our content? And I always say you have to start with the choir because they are the people that are going to spread the word. Complete strangers are very hard to reach, and they're very hard to convince, and they're very hard to grab attention. It's really hard to grab the attention of a complete stranger. But other people can grab attention of their friends and family so much more easily than we can grab that attention. So think about your supporters as a choir, and if they're singing together, they're going to bring others in and share your gospel. And that's really where the magic happens on social media. So you want to leverage your current community members. Go in to your Facebook page, go into Instagram, Twitter, wherever you are online, and answer comments and questions. Interact with people. Don't just post and then leave. Don't over automate. Always be learning about your choir. Always be learning about your community. Posting information that's actually shareable, that's very important. So to fight off colds, doctors love to sip on ginger tea. This is so shareable. And it's very easy to create, and it was timely because it's December 10th. So everyone's fighting off colds, in December. And then I loved, this is on Facebook on the left-hand side. And then it also encourages you to interact. What's your favorite home remedy? So it's providing value, it's on brand, it's on mission, but it's also very shareable. Look at what Lambda Legal did around the holidays. This is something that is just very shareable. So we need to stop thinking about social media as purely a venue for what can it do for us, and think about it as what can we provide that's going to help our audience. Clearly explain the problem that you're solving. So I'm not giving to you because you've been in the community for 60 years. Now, things that used to impress the baby boomers, things like awards, who's on your board, you've been in the community for 60 years, you're in the newspaper, none of that impresses younger people. We want to know about the problem. I'm not lumping myself necessarily into younger people. I'm Gen X, but people now in general, especially when they're looking online for causes to support, they want to know that there's a problem and that it's relevant and timely. Like, is this a relevant problem? 1 in 7 kids struggling with hunger. Chances are you know a child who's missing meals. That explains the problem to me. And it also shows that it's a very timely and urgent and relevant problem. That's where emotional storytelling also comes in. And then you want to invite people to help become part of the solution. Social media, all of these platforms are visual storytelling platforms. I don't care if it's LinkedIn or Twitter. Those are more maybe fast-paced newsrooms, but still, emotional visual storytelling works best across all channels, and it will never go away. This is why the channels were created, for us to share stories and connect as humans. So if you're raising money, if you're trying to build an audience, that visual is so important. And then the emotional story or the emotional, you don't have to actually tell the story from the first person's point of view, but there does have to be a story in there somewhere. What's going to really get me emotionally and what's going to convince me that this is a problem that needs solving? And then also showing your impact. So people give to nonprofits because they want to solve a problem and they trust the nonprofit has the solution. So you have the solution to this problem or a solution, and you need to be explaining how that solution works. So explain how it contributes to solving the problem. This is probably 90% of what you should be sharing on social media, should be explaining impact, not saying we're so great, saying this is what we were able to do with you in our community. Make people inspired, make people proud to be a part of the community. And then show me what you stand for. This is where nonprofits fall flat. Okay, I don't care what you do or what your mission is. Someone is going to be offended by it. We need to stop being afraid of offending people. I don't mean being provocative, and I don't mean running around in the streets naked just to grab attention. I mean standing up for what we believe in, because that's going to attract the right people to your cause, the people that are going to be loyal donors, the people that are going to spread the word for you, the people that are going to share and fundraise. And it's also, of course, it's going to eliminate some of the other people that were never going to be donors to begin with, and that's okay. So especially in this environment where nobody knows who to trust, nobody knows what's real, nobody knows what's a real headline and what's not a real headline, we need to be the go-to resources and the trusted resources in our area. So Amira Incorporated, they combat sex trafficking in New England, and they're always sharing articles and blog posts and videos and things that they know their audience would be interested in to demonstrate that this is a real problem, but also to show that it's possible to combat this problem. So becoming the go-to indispensable resource and showing your audience what you stand for and what your values are and your worldview, that's how you create raving fans. If you're just posting, if you're just simply posting about what you did today, or if you're afraid to take a stand for your clients and for the populations that you serve, then your content is not going to stand out as much as it possibly can. So I really encourage us to just get a little bit more out of our comfort zones here and talk about what we stand for. And also we owe that to our clients. So even if it's arts education, something that's not polarizing, you don't have to have a polarizing mission to stand up for what you believe in. You don't have to. There's something that you stand up for. There's something that links everyone together that supports your cause. Also, create a plan this year to start live streaming. Now, live streaming video is the most popular kind of content shared on social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, whether it's YouTube Live, whether it's Periscope, which goes on Twitter. It's the most popular type of content because the algorithm loves it. People love live video. They want to be part of the action. It's unexpected. You never know what's going to happen when you're live. And it's a great way to build community, lift the veil, show people that there are humans behind behind all of the posts. And you can also add a donate button. If you're registered with Facebook Charitable Giving Tools, I, as an individual, could hold a live stream for you and raise money and put a donate button on it. Or your page can go live and add a donate button to your live video. So there's many, many, many benefits of going live. This is how Amira uses it. If you can't tell, they're one of my favorite organizations. But their executive director, she goes live on Facebook and Instagram pretty much like once a week. And she really only goes live for maybe 7 minutes, 10 minutes. But she gives an update. Like, this is what's happening. This is what we learned this week. This is a milestone moment. Like, we had a woman and she's 3 months sober and we're really celebrating her. And she came to us from this and XYZ. So she does a mixture of storytelling, news, announcements. It's almost like a personal letter from the desk of the executive director. And honestly, I feel like I know them so well just from these Facebook lives and just from the connection that she's made. And she obviously, she has to be the face of this organization. They can't interview survivors that are in crisis. They can't interview people that have been sex trafficked that are living in their shelter. So she needs to be the face of it, and she's doing it, and she's doing a great job. They promote their Facebook lives and their Instagram lives as well. So they always create graphics so they can get that critical mass of people. And then they promote them afterwards. So they have a strategy for what to do before, during, and after. They also share a lot of videos around frequently asked questions, which I really like. Another thing I want to emphasize is that we should always be working towards an escape plan. So how are we actively getting people off social media and onto our email list? Are we promoting our email newsletter effectively? Are we saying, come on over, get stories, join the movement, never miss an update? And then this is an asset that you can bring across platforms that you control. So we know that social media, we don't control it. We know that they could pull the rug out from under us at any moment, and they often do. And we know that it's often pay to play, and we never know what's going to be happening in the social media space from day to day. So we need to double down on getting supporters over to our email list. Not all of them are going to come. Not all of them are going to be email subscribers, but some of them might be. And then that's when you can really make that more intimate connection, because we all know this. I mean, we forget this because we hate email so much, especially, oh man, yesterday, I just wanted to delete all my email addresses. But it is a more intimate place to make a connection with someone than a Facebook newsfeed, if you can get in their inbox. Another tip is to not look at social media content creation as this big, overwhelming thing. You have to have beautiful photos and beautiful videos and everything has to be perfect. Use social media to document. So think like a journalist. Think of your day, just your daily life, and think about like 3 things that you could document. Like maybe you want to interview an intern. And a tip that I always give to organizations if they're not comfortable on video, now this is once again a generalization, but it does tend to work. Find the younger people in your organization, especially if they're college students, college age, or teenagers. They are super comfortable being on video because they've grown up being on video. They've grown up on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram. So they are usually more comfortable being on video than older people are. We take ourselves so seriously. We think our hair has to be perfect. We think the lighting has to be perfect. Meanwhile, the college intern just takes the camera, turns it on, and talks in a completely natural way. So think about ways you can leverage all of the different skill sets and age groups at your organization. Interview your interns, document these little moments that you don't have to have a gigantic story to tell a story. Like Best Buddies all the time shares these little mission moments that the photo itself tells a story. And then this is Beverly, Mass. If you see the bottom left with the ocean, this is Charity Water. We did the polar plunge in Beverly, and they actually shared this video that someone else had taken on their main Instagram page. So just these little moments that are taken with a phone, documenting what you're doing. And I love this on Giving Tuesday, printing out a piece of paper and saying, I volunteer because I want to end hunger because, or I'm joining the movement, and getting people to take photos and getting people to, be a part of that conversation for you. Cape Ann Animal Aid, where I love them so much. They have a pretty easy social media job. Not to say that everything is all roses, but they do have cats and dogs to share all day. But they actually told me that they struggle because they feel like they're very boring. They feel like all they do is share pictures of cats and dogs. And I said, I know so many organizations that would kill to have photos of cats and dogs to share. So grass is always greener everywhere you go, but documenting, not worrying about creating this perfectly staged photo of cats. And then I love this from the trustees. It's Wagging Wednesday. And so they share pictures of people walking their dogs. They share people being in nature with their dogs or with any of their four-legged friends. And they invite people to share their photos and become part of it. So just document. Think about documenting, not content creation so much. Also, repurposing. If you have an awesome annual appeal letter, or you have a fantastic annual report, anything that you've created and you put blood, sweat, and tears into it, then it's absolutely okay to repurpose it. So think about one story that you have at your organization. Maybe it's a story of a volunteer, maybe it's a story of a staff member, a story of a donor, a story of a client. That can be repurposed and cut and pasted and molded into a blog post, into an email newsletter, into a Facebook post, a tweet, an Instagram post, a LinkedIn post, a YouTube video. There's a million ways to repurpose and recycle what you're doing. I also think, and this is a question that I do get a lot, if you posted something like 2 months ago and it didn't get quite the traction that you wanted, change up the language a little bit and post it again. No one will notice. No one is going to notice that you did that. But also, it's just going to get in front of more people. And even if people see it twice, if it's a good piece of content, if it's a good story, then they're not going to mind and they're not going to care that you did that. And it's really not going to bother them. I think that we get so stressed out about, are we posting too much? Are we annoying our followers? And the answer is no, you are not annoying your followers, because really, if you're not paying to post things, if you're relying on organic reach, it's going to be like 2 to 3% of your fans and followers that see it. So you want to make sure that you are consistent, but you want to make sure that you're posting frequently, because you're not going to annoy people, especially if it's good content. You're never at risk for annoying people. And also, can we have fun? Let's have fun again. I know we work on very serious issues, and I know we're tackling the world's problems, but people want to see posts that entertain them, that inspire them, that teach them, posts that tell a story. These are the types of posts that people like on their social channels. And I think nonprofits need to take advantage of that and create a little bit more fun kind of content. The TSA is one of my absolute favorite accounts to follow. They do such a great job, especially on Instagram. So I hope you can read this. Every caption that they have is just full of puns and being really silly and like dad jokes. And they have just such a great sense of humor, and it's a joy to follow them. And then I love this. She doesn't even go here because it was Mean Girls Day. And so they took advantage of a trending hashtag. And if you haven't seen the movie Mean Girls, this is a famous line from Mean Girls, but they took a photo of what was going on and they just captioned it because it was fun. Libraries are actually pretty amazing on social media. If you find a good library to follow them, because they're hilarious. Librarians are really funny. They're just amazing. Who's your author crush? I love that. Like asking a question, getting that engagement. And I love this. We're sorry we ruined trivia. We just love to learn. And that little picture from The Simpsons. So thinking about how you can entertain and make people laugh and create that, just kind of have fun with it. And of course, emojis. I love this one from UNHCR. I think, this is World Refugee Day. The difference between you and refugees on World Refugee Day. Thinking about how people are using these channels. They're on mobile. Colors especially attract the eye and make you stop the scroll. And then just the use of emojis in a tweet. It's what people do. I love this one. What's your favorite way to help children every day? Reply with the emoji that represents you. And that's World Emoji Day. So we should all be jumping on things like World Emoji Day, things like any cause and awareness day that you have. And also things like, World Pancake Day. There is always a day for everything. I don't recommend doing this every single day, but certainly once in a while we can jump on these trends and we can make them, work for us. So the key is really to be proactive and not just reactive, not just say, I'm just going to wake up every morning and kind of figure out what to post and throw something up and not really care about it. It's the people that really take the time, even just a little bit more time than waking up in the morning and throwing something up on social media. That's what works. Look at this campaign, right? Name a cockroach after your ex and see it be fed to zoo animals on Facebook Live. First of all, it's an awesome use of Valentine's Day. Secondly, it's a great use of Facebook Live. It's just super creative, and I love that campaign. So strategically use each channel based on its strengths. Like, this is a great opportunity for Facebook Live. Emojis work great on Twitter. Visual storytelling and Instagram stories are great on Instagram. Make sure that you're not just saying, follow us, follow us, follow us. You need to give people a good reason to connect with you. Like, when people ask me, okay, how do I get more Instagram followers? I say, well, are you giving them a reason to connect with you on Instagram? And are you promoting it? Are you saying, connect with us on Instagram and hear stories about our work, hear stories about our impact, see great photos of our events? So give people a reason to follow you. What value are you providing? What are you offering that will entice them to stay tuned? Because social media is a value exchange at the end of the day. And please don't panic, especially in this climate. This slide could be much more relevant, is much more relevant. But as long as you're doing, as long as you're just improving slightly, you don't have to completely reinvent the wheel. You don't have to throw everything out. I'm not ever saying to throw out direct mail if that works for you, or maybe you have a newsletter that you send out via print and that works for you. Build on what's working and emphasize, build on what's working and do less of what's not working. So your new mantra, whether it's social media, whether it's online communications in general, is always less is more, and focus over frantic, because it's like exercise. If I simply just go to the gym and sit there and I'm on my phone and I throw a bunch of weights around and then I leave, I certainly will not get the results that I want, as opposed to a person that goes and is focused and has a plan and is consistently showing up, consistently focused, and has a strategy. So my 3 keys for you for social media success: consistency, showing up regularly, being present, creating content for your audience. So content is not as important as audience. Know your audience first. Don't start with content, start with audience, but make sure that you're creating and sharing things that people like to watch, read, share, and comment on. And then also having some confidence in your voice and taking risks, in having fun, in being yourself, in standing up for your population that you're standing up for your clients. So all of those are key: consistency, content, and confidence. And then I'm going to actually show you some tools to use to do all of this. But social media and technology, I love this quote, are not agents of change. They're just tools. And we, the connected people, are the agents of change. Okay. I want to take some questions. I'm going to show you a few tools because I was going to demo them, but this is cool because you can just see my screen. My number one favorite tool for creating social media graphics is Canva. I'm sure most of you are using Canva. So Canva actually has a nonprofit discount. If you go to canva.com/nonprofits, and this will get you half off a premium account. I don't use the premium account, but it will give you some case studies of how other nonprofits are using it. I just use the free account and purchase stock photography occasionally. But basically, you can create almost anything that you want, and they'll have little templates here for you. And you can purchase their photography. You can drag in your own photography. You can drag in your own graphics, and it's pretty life-changing. And I'm sure if you use Canva, you're jumping up and down right now and saying that you love Canva. Another one that I've heard people like, that I just use Canva because it's just easier. Adobe Spark is really, really great. So Adobe Spark, you can create whole websites, graphics. They have really fantastic Instagram story templates. And it's the same exact thing as Canva. And you can create great infographics there. So if you're an Adobe user, if you are just a fan of Adobe products, you might want to check out Adobe Spark. And then another video tool that I wanted to show you is Lumen 5. I don't know if anyone uses Lumen 5, but the best thing about Lumen 5, I want to show you a video. You can send them, this is all about repurposing, right? You can send them a list of 10 things and they will make a video for you. So they made this video for me completely for free, and they added their stock photography and their stock videos. So you can drag your own in, or you could I just wanted to show you what it looks like if you just send your list to them. It's pretty cool. And then you can embed it and share it on your social media and do anything that you want with it. So Lumen 5 is definitely one that you should look at, because you don't even have to have video in order to succeed with Lumen 5. And then my other favorite is Animoto. This is another app. This one I use on my phone. And Animoto, you can edit videos. You can take snippets of videos and put them together very easily. You can, what else can you do with Animoto? You can actually upload your entire media library and they'll create a montage of your photos. You can add text overlay. You can add music. That's all Creative Commons licensing. So these tools, I mean, really, there's no excuse not to have a visual with any of your posts anymore, whether it be a static image that you purchase or that you design, or whether it be a video that you are designing and creating for some kind of visual element. Two other tools that are specifically for Instagram, later.com. You can schedule, let me see if it shows you what it looks like. You can actually schedule posts to Instagram, videos and photos, and it's free for 30 days for one account. And of course you can manage other social media accounts. It's kind of a social media management platform, but it's totally free for 30 posts for one account. And then let me see the next one. So that's later.com. And then if you're using Instagram stories, Storito is a fantastic way to schedule stories. So you can choose a file to upload. Like, let's just choose something from my downloads. Let's just choose that. And then you can actually edit it, write over it. I made this one, post and schedule it, use hashtags, user tags, everything that you would do in an Instagram story, but you can use it via desktop, because that's a question I get a lot. Are there Instagram and social media tools that I can use that don't require me being on my phone all day, every day? So Storito is one to create stories. You can schedule them or you can post them right away. And it's a great way to just stay on top of Instagram stories, because I know that can be a challenge. Okay. Oh, Ryan says, I use Hootsuite for schedule posting to Insta, Facebook, and Twitter. Now I love Hootsuite. What I've been seeing is if you're posting via a third-party tool to Facebook, you don't get the reach that you would if you use their tools. So what I recommend you do is you go to Facebook, because now you can actually schedule all of this stuff inside Facebook. This is Facebook Creator Studio. We all have it. Just go to business.facebook/Creator Studio or just Google Facebook Creator Studio. And you have the ability to post to your pages, to post to your Instagram accounts. You see at the top, Facebook and then Instagram. And this is not going to affect your reach because Facebook wants you to use their tools rather than other people's tools. They don't play nicely with anyone. Facebook does not like to play nice. As you've seen, if you try to post a YouTube video, it doesn't play the thumbnail anymore. It doesn't have the preview because they don't want to send their traffic to YouTube. That's why you have to upload the video natively. But you can schedule unlimited posts to unlimited pages, upload videos and go live right from here. And it's a great place to schedule and post to Instagram as well, because I haven't seen any negative ramifications from using Facebook Creator Studio, because of course they want you to use these tools. So just a little bit of a tip, but I do love Hootsuite. I do like Buffer. And I will just type these into the chat if you don't know how to spell them. Hootsuite. I do like those for scheduling to LinkedIn and scheduling to Twitter. Okay, let me see. All right. Well, I'd love to take your questions, but if there, aren't any questions, I certainly can be available on email, on Twitter. I'm Julia C. Social. And yeah, I think we'll get these out to you. Let me see. We'll get these out to you whenever the recording is converted. Recommendations for analytics. It's really hard because there's no free options for analytics if you have multiple channels. So obviously, if you just have a Facebook page, you can go into your insights. If you just have Twitter, you can go into analytics, but a tool to kind of pull everything in. I really like Sprout Social for that. And I really like Hootsuite for that. But when you're doing the analytics part of Hootsuite, it's not in the free option, especially if you have multiple accounts. So if you only have 1 or 2 social media accounts that you manage, I just recommend doing a good old-fashioned spreadsheet and pulling in metrics individually. But if you do manage a lot of accounts, then something like Sprout Social, which I will put in here. That's the one that and they also have a nonprofit discount. I think it's 50% off for Sprout Social. Let me see. What do you have to say or recommend about LinkedIn? LinkedIn is absolutely exploding in popularity. So I actually just took a mini course on LinkedIn. What tends to work on LinkedIn, first of all, company pages don't get a lot of traction. So we all have to realize company pages are not going to get as much engagement or reach as your individual personal profile, because it's the nature of the beast. People like to communicate with people much more than they like to communicate with brands. So on LinkedIn, and this was also something that at the Nonprofit Social Media Summit, my friend Angela Pitter did an unbelievable presentation on it. That was like, I took 3 pages of notes, all things I didn't know. So I'm going to try to remember the highlights. She recommends posting video, horizontal video on LinkedIn, even if it's 30 seconds or 1 minute, because it gets higher up in the algorithm and more people see it. It's going to get you more views, not a link to a video, like actually uploading the video. And also documents. So what she found is that posting a PDF or actually uploading an ebook into the platform gets 10 times the reach and engagement as if you just posted a link to a blog post. So what's important to remember with any of these sites is, except for Twitter, all of these sites want you, like, they don't want to direct traffic to outside sources. So you're going to get demoted in the newsfeed, and not as many people are going to see what you're posting if you're constantly linking to outside sites. So trying to create that original content and original insight and then have a photo or a video attached to it, that's always going to work best. But LinkedIn is a fantastic place to make connections and get reach right now, because it's not filled with politics. It's not filled with vacation photos. It's not filled with influencer photos. It's still really that pure professional place where people are connecting around their careers. So definitely explore posting more video or photos or documents to LinkedIn on your personal profile. Oh, and Marlene said, what choir do you work with? I don't work with a choir. What I was saying is I think that nonprofits should preach to the choir rather than try to get their message out to 10,000 new followers. Focus on the followers you do have and encourage them to spread the gospel to their followers. I think that's a better strategy, in my opinion. Okay, Ryan has a question. I work for a nonprofit. Creating content is not a problem. We post new videos and quick clips frequently. They get views and shares, but I'd like to encourage more engagement and conversations. Okay, well, then you need to probably ask, or it needs to be something that people want to comment on. So when you're posting a clip, when you're posting a video, there should always be that goal, that objective. So is your objective to get views? That's a whole different bucket. Is your objective to get shares? That's a different bucket. Is your objective to get engagement? That's a different bucket. You can't get all the things on every video. I think most people would probably be really excited to get likes and shares, but comments, it has to be something worth commenting on. So it has to be something that's provocative or controversial or asking a question or something that people are going to take sides on. So, you know, I know one of the libraries that I work with, they posted a video. Do you prefer audiobook or do you prefer real book? And you can imagine that got really heated and lots of comments because people are really passionate. But of course, it wasn't mean-spirited. Nobody was saying, you're an idiot because you like audiobooks. I mean, and if they did, they were deleted. But it has to be content that inspires conversation, that gets people a little riled up or passionate. So something that people are especially passionate about. I think for Wilmington Community Television, I mean, there are probably some things that you could post that would get some comments. Like, what do you guys think about the new Rotary? I'm just thinking about where I live, how people are constantly commenting on everything and giving their opinion. People love to give their opinions. But you do have to monitor that conversation, make sure it doesn't kind of take a turn for the worse. Okay. Oh, Barbara says, I do mobile photo shoots to encourage open expression of grief, emotional photos, posts on faces of resilience, post photo with messages written on their skin. I let them speak for themselves. Should I add a sentence about them as part of posting the photo? Ask for donations to continue being able to do these for people. I wouldn't put an ask for donation on every single one, but certainly like maybe every 10th photo, you could say, to continue this work, we rely on your donations and we're a 501c3, and click the donate button if you'd like to see more of this work, or, you know, put a link to your donate on your website. I think letting them speak for themselves, but there always needs to be kind of a caption that's going to help Facebook really figure out what it's about and show it to more people, and the same on Instagram. So even just maybe one sentence, or even just writing the caption or whatever's written on their skin in the caption. The other thing that I'd want to say about that is that e-readers and people that have visibility impairment, they can't read the text on the photo. So they're only going to be able to read the caption with their e-reader and with their mobile device that reads the captions. So just from like a standpoint of inclusivity where people with visibility impairments can read it, I would put the quote that's written on the photo, written on the person. I would actually just put it in the caption, and that could be your caption. But certainly when you ask for donations, saying something like, let's continue this work. If this work is important to you, if you'd like to see more, please help us, join the movement, join us. Using language like that, I think, can work really well. Okay, Marlene says, my client is ramping up with a dashboard and still getting their strategy together. Any advice on how to raise awareness at this early stage? They're a patient healthcare injury awareness nonprofit. If they're just starting out, then definitely preaching to the choir. So even friends and family members at this point, they need to be leveraging. Any board member and any board member's friend and family, any staff member, and having a strategy to get the people that they already have right now to kind of help expand their networks. They could also do some kind of video. They could do a Facebook Live once a week around a specific topic, announcing it and really promote it that way. I've seen a lot of nonprofits build their audience with videos and with live video especially. But it just let them know, you know, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's going to take a long time to build an audience, but to focus on what makes their mission so important, what makes them different, and to talk to the people that currently support them or volunteer or work for them or on the board, and think about maybe the top 3 things that really make them passionate about this mission, and creating content around that, and just constantly creating and sharing this information that the audience is passionate about. Because the danger in the beginning is that the organization is just going to want to talk about itself. Like, we're great, support us. But they need to build that trust and affinity up first by sharing the stories of people that have been helped, or sharing their vision for the future. If they have not yet accomplished anything because they're new, what's their vision for the future? What do they hope to accomplish? What does that look like? And what is a vision for the future where they don't exist? What does that look like? What are the dangers of laying around? Like, what are the stakes involved if they don't get the support that they want? So I hope that helps. And we're at 10 o'clock. Thank you. This was such a fantastic group. This was awesome. So I will send Susu the slides and the recording once it's all converted, and that you can view the recording. And I'll send you my email. Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on. Maybe I muted somebody again. Disable. No, I can't hear you, Susu.
Oh.
Nope, I can hear you.
Well, thank you, Julia. That was
Okay.
awesome. It's
You're
amazing.
welcome. I know. I wish I could see everyone in person.
Next time.
Okay. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you when we can all go out in public again.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.